Now, I put out a poll recently giving 3 choices for today's video. And according to you guys, you wanted to see White Lantern versus the Phoenix Force. So before we get started, make sure to like the video, share it with your friends, help the channel grow. I'm trying to pump out more valuable content for you guys. But anyways, let's get right into it, and we're going to start off with going over White Lantern, specifically Kyle Raynor, and just what he can do. So Kyle Raynor has showed at one point he can use both green and blue powers from the emotional spectrum at the same time. He has extreme fear manipulation and can manipulate the fear inside of you and turn it against you. He has high tier teleportation, and he can use portals and use them to portal himself around anywhere. He does this via channeling compassion. This can be dangerous in combat because obviously he can get the drop on you faster by teleporting around. He has empathic manipulation. If you don't know what that is, he can manipulate your emotions. He can invoke a different emotion out of you according to what he wants to do. So if you're angry and it helps him in the fight for you to be chill, he can make you become calm, and that can be dangerous when fighting. He has absolutely zero diffed the Third Army before with a simple wave of his hand. In this scan, it is obvious he's above the Guardians of the Universe in power. Guardians have the power to blow up and completely BFR Superboy Prime. Even with that, the fact Raynor is superior is impressive, and more proof he scales above the Guardians will be shown later in the video. He was able to actually one-shot Saint Walker. He is revealed in the comics to have complete control over life. A lot of his life manipulation hacks are proven to be passive in nature, meaning he doesn't have to actively activate them in order for them to work. He once displayed that he can look back down timelines. On top of this, he can feel the emotions of characters that are not only in the past, but they are not even alive anymore. His willpower and resistance spans across timelines and realities. He would casually destroy the planet if he tried too hard in a fight. He was causing Guardians at one point to run in fear from his power. His raw power once completely ragdolled and frightened multiple Guardians. He was actually able to blitz someone to the source wall, an outerversal distance. So the speed at this point is irrelevant. Channeling the source in the life equation and passively was able to learn how to use it. This should obviously put Kyle Raynor, White Lantern, at least source level in terms of what this feat means. He at one point rewrote reality in order for return from the source wall to be something that could occur. He was able to at one point manage to manipulate and fix the source wall itself. He created a bare minimum hyperversal monster in the form of Oblivion. Oblivion was comprised of endless emotions channeled by Kyle. This endless refers to all of them in creation. So all dimensions, aka hyperversal at least. The Guardians that I talked about he easily so scaled above were able to manhandle multi-emotional spectrum users. So obviously they're not weak characters, yet they are weak compared to White Lantern. That is one character. On the other side of things, we have the Phoenix. The Phoenix was made famous in the Marvel Comics, specifically X-Men run, as a cosmic force freak of nature that is a threat not only to the universe, but to creation itself. At one point in Avatar, an infinitesimal aspect actually of the Phoenix Force was able to battle Professor X across every plane of existence at the same time. So at least high hyperversal just for an avatar of the Phoenix. It was also born between the void of states of being, and that Jean Grey and everything Jean Grey does is just an infinitesimal aspect of the Phoenix Force. The Phoenix Force is later referred to as life and death, love and destruction. In Excalibur 52, Xavier states a small percentage of the Phoenix Force could destroy him. This upscales dramatically given that Xavier was able to fight on every plane of existence. So he said just a small percentage of the actual Phoenix Force could destroy him, and he's hyperversal, at least in the battle he waged. Phoenix Force states it must present itself in a way for humans to comprehend. Its true form is beyond human comprehension. This occurred in Mighty Thor issues 19. Phoenix Force Avatar projected simultaneously across every plane of existence once. Phoenix is actually beyond reality and manifests in a way that humans can comprehend. The Phoenix Force is rebirth itself. It can consume creation and remake it. It is at one point called life itself. Phoenix can consume creation, even gods, and birth it anew. Scales to and above the nexus of realities. This would be the destruction of the multiverse, or aka creation. So it scales well beyond that. Creation resides in the heart of the Phoenix Force at one point. The Phoenix Force states to Jean Grey that it transcends all realities. Dark Phoenix scales to nexus of realities, and Dark Phoenix is one of the weakest versions of the Phoenix. At one point, it blasted pre-retcon Beyonder, who some thought scaled to the one above all, and he had to ready himself for the blast. It was that crazy. I believe it was White Phoenix, either white or green, held the reality in her hands and was thinking about repairing it. Beyonder said if he's off guard, the Phoenix could actually damage him, and we saw this Beyonder casually take attacks from Celestials and laugh at it, and it had no effect on him at all. And the fact that he said Phoenix could do something to him is absolutely crazy. There are a couple other Phoenix Force feats, stuff with like White Phoenix. For example, at one point, White Phoenix said all of the cosmos flowed through her, and that she's also beyond death. And Jean Grey bonding with the Phoenix Force, which weakens the Phoenix Force, is still considered the biggest threat to abstract balance. All the abstracts are afraid of that, and this was revealed in X-Men Forever issue 3. Now, we got both characters out of the way. At the end of the day, if these two monsters were to clash, who do I think would win? I think it comes down to a power gap here. And in that gap, I favor the Phoenix Force. My reasoning for this is, if you look at it even from a basic angle, the White Lantern represents life. Phoenix Force also represents life, but life is just a small aspect of it. It represents several other things as well, so that's just a small part of it. So the White Lantern would obviously be like a small part of the Phoenix Force. It both scale at least to creation, but Phoenix Force scales safely above. And at the end of the day, I believe it's too powerful. I'm also not so confident that White Lantern could tank the psionic attacks. I'm not quite sure he's battle tested when it comes to consistent outerversal mind hacks casually. Maybe he's shown resistance once or twice that could be argued that level, but it's still a bit of a reach. So at the end of the day, with the consistency of the Phoenix Force and how it scales above rebirth and creation, and how at some points it even contains that, I believe the Phoenix Force is simply too powerful for the White Lantern, and at the end of the day, Phoenix Force wins. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Made some upgrades to the channel recently. We're trying to grow at a fast rate. Make sure to help spread the content. Post it everywhere. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. It's been your favorite villain, and I will see y'all later. Peace.